And opening statements got underway this morning in the highly anticipated murder trial of former cop Mark Torre Jr. And the defense came hitting hard with some never before heard of theory of how fellow officer Sergeant Albert Piolo died. The prosecution, however, painted a different picture of the character of Torre that fateful night.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
July 12, 2015 started out as an average Sunday for police officer Albert Piolo. Breakfast with a family and while at home working on some plumbing. Piolo then got ready to play at the beach bar with his band. He kissed his wife and son goodbye and left. For then Officer Mark Torre Jr., it was much of the same, an average Sunday. The two comrades found themselves at the same bar later that evening, having fun and drinking alcohol with coworkers and friends. The two then went over to Abandoned Ship, another bar in Tumon. There, prosecutor Phil Tydinko says, is where Torre's anger began.
You will hear testimony from at least 4 people, if not 5, who were at the Abandoned Ship when Bert Piolo, some other officers, and the defendant, Mark Torre Jr., were there. You will learn from them that he was belligerent, angry, or arrogant. Charles Pendleton, the bouncer, the security man, he alerts his fellow bouncer, Kevin Jackson. Be prepared. My LT is there. Words to the effect, acting like an asshole and dick. You will also hear testimony from the owner, Tony Cruz, that when the defendant was outside on the deck, that he proceeded to look at him up and down in a challenging manner, similar to what people locally refer to as Atambaba, like he wanted to challenge him, or it doesn't end there. Because the defendant, at some point that night, he tries to leave when he's on the outside of the deck with a drink, walk outside the deck, and the bouncers, Charles Pendleton, will tell you that he had to try to stop the defendant from taking the drink out. And you will learn that the defendant said words to the effect of, do you want me to slap your face? How about I slap your face?
Eventually, the two leave the bar together in Piolo's truck. Piolo drives an inebriated Torre home. And this is where tragedy was unleashed.
911 gets a call from Officer Bert Piolo calling for help.
Tydinko says Piolo made several calls to 911 and was the only person from the scene to dial, telling first responders that he'd been shot. Torre, meanwhile, phoned his wife, calling her several times and leaving a strange voicemail that said, quote, "Par, I'm done. We're done. I don't even know how this happened," end quote. The prosecution says the evidence will confirm that no one else could have shot Piolo but Torre, who was sitting in the truck's passenger seat. The firearm belonged to Torre and the bullet matched the firearm. Tydinko says Piolo himself identified his alleged killer, yelling, he shot me," in the 911 call. The defense, however, painted a different picture, one of a depressed and distraught Officer Piolo in a troubled marriage. Attorney Ariola revealed for the first time in court that WhatsApp messages retrieved from Piolo's cell phone uncover an extramarital affair. Ariola says the affair with a staffer from the Lieutenant Governor's office, Abigail Regis, had been going on for 3 years and that Piolo had recently been busted by his wife.
Several witnesses have come forward stating he was not happy in his marriage. He was having an affair with his co-worker for over 3 years. And his wife supposedly didn't know about it. Many who knew him didn't even know he was a married man because he led another life.
After opening statements, Piolo's wife, Mika, took the witness stand where she described the horrifying night she found out about her husband's death. She says she communicated with her husband several times that evening to find out when he would come home after playing a gig at the beach bar. She denied knowing about an affair, but admitted that she found out about a text message between her husband and Regis, in which Regis referred to Piolo as babe. But she told the jury that this is the first time she'd ever heard about a sexual affair. Ariola, meanwhile, revealed that the affair was not only confirmed by text messages, but also by Regis herself, who months after Piolo's death finally admitted to the affair. The day before Piolo was shot, Ariola says Regis and Piolo were fighting. And although the defense continues to maintain that Torre was in an alcohol-induced blackout at the time of the shooting, Ariola says Torre was trying to prevent a distraught Piolo from shooting himself. The forensic evidence, Ariola emphasized, will prove this.
The physical evidence and the expert testimony will show that Mark did not recklessly, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, shoot and kill Bert. He did not use a gun, and there is no evidence that Mark was the one who shot Bert. The only person who may have used the gun and who had any reason to use the gun was Bert.
Janella Carrera, PNC News.
Again, although the defense says the only person who can testify as to what happened that night is Torre, but the prosecution is expected to play back the 911 call in which Piolo can be heard identifying Torre as his killer. Torre is expected to take the witness stand in his own defense.